I'm here with Tami Morrison of Beadoholique in Houston, Texas, which is a great bead retail store. And you know, a couple episodes ago, Glenna was here and she talked to us about this great technology that you're going to really just take us to the next step with.
Right. We're talking about photopolymer plates, and you can use photopolymer plates to make pretty much anything, any kind of stamp.
That's incredible.
We'll do a little bit of a review.
Okay.
This is a photopolymer plate. It's covered with a polymer gel that will harden when it's exposed to UV light.
Okay.
And you can just take it out in the sunlight and it will harden.
Wow.
So you can cover it with transparency that will cover some of the areas with black, and they won't be exposed, they won't harden, so you can wash them out. Yeah. And you do that in a simple little frame. You put your transparency on top of it.
Okay.
And expose it. And then you start washing out the gel that has been covered in the black. Okay? And that's what gives you your stamp.
Right.
Okay.
And of course the process in order to do that is located on the website.
Yes.
So
yes.
if you missed that show,
yeah, if you missed
that was
show.
fun.
And you can really take anything that you can print and create something from it. This is a name tag. This is a bracelet of a variety of different textured leaves and bark that was a color picture actually, and it was transferred to a grayscale black and white image, something like you see here. And then I used the photopolymer plate to create the texture and used a liver of sulfur solution.
I just think it's incredible that you're able to do that. So it's almost like making your own stamp.
Yes.
And how long will these last?
These will last for years if you take care of them.
Okay.
And we'll talk a little bit later about how you do that.
Okay.
Like you say, you can create almost anything. I have a pencil here that I've created my own signature stamp. It's got my initials and it's got .99 FS on it for fine silver. And I stamp all the back of my pieces with that stamp.
Wow.
So I have my quality mark and I also have my initials on my artwork.
That's perfect. And it's something that you created. So all the way around you created it.
Yes. And the nice thing about that is that you can't get a rubber stamp made with a font that is that small. So it's something I had to make myself in some method, and I thought photopolymer was the best way to do it.
Absolutely.
So
you brought some other fun stuff that we can do with this.
Let's talk a little bit about it. I drew a simple heart on a piece of paper and I created a negative image of it. And created two transparencies from that negative image. This one is an example of creating the photopolymer plate where the black image is washed out, and this is the resulting silver piece. And you will see the heart is actually raised.
Wow.
This transparency was used to create these last three pieces. All the black area was washed out in this first piece, creating a raised stamp. So that when I stamped the clay, it created an indent.
So it depends on how you transfer the image, what's in black and what's in the white or what's in the clear, how the stamp is actually made.
That's correct,
yes. Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
And in this example, I used the same transparency on top of the photopolymer, and I exposed it for the appropriate time. And I take mine outside in the sunshine, and I start with about 1.5 minutes in the sunshine. And
that's because you live in Houston.
Yeah.
It's sunshine there.
And then when I was cleaning out the plate, instead of rubbing one way and then the other way, I just rubbed in one direction, and I kept looking at it. And you notice the striations here.
Texture.
Texture,
wow.
Yes. And I just, when it got to a pretty point, I just stopped. And I exposed the plate completely with the gel still in it.
Wow, okay.
And that created this stamp here.
So it's not just the image, but it's also the texture.
The texture.
It could be as well.
And in this example, it's the same transparency. I did the same process, and instead of just rubbing in one direction, I made little circles on it to wash it out until I got the texture that I really liked.
Yeah.
And it's just it's not really any discernible texture.
Right.
But it just gives it a different look.
Just gives it a little bit of depth.
Yeah. So you can do a lot of things with the plate as you're cleaning it out and as you're exposing it too. You can take this transparency and expose it part way and move it over.
That's perfect.
So you'll get a double exposure, if you will, of different depths.
And you did something like that over here, correct?
Yes.
You did that with the transparency?
When you start with line drawings, like a children's art here,
that would be like my art too.
we reduced it down in size, and we found that the lines are very thin, so we decided that it was better to turn it into a negative image, and then the lines itself would show up much better on the photopolymer.
So you could actually do that on your computer with this.
And those are the steps you go through. You have your, you reduce your image, you convert it to black and white, print it on a transparency, and then put it on your photopolymer and wash it out. And you'll see over there is the final piece of it. The top is the line drawing from this actual picture, and the bottom are just some baby feet. So you can create a gift that way.
Now, Tami, really quickly before we go, I just want to mention, so you would store it, would you just put olive oil on it? Is that what you're saying? And just put it in a cool place?
Yes. If you want to store your plate, the best way to do it is to just dab it with a little bit of olive oil.
Store it in a cool...
Store it in a cool, dark place. And it'll last for years.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was fun. I'll be right